Now, go to another segment here. I'm back with some tourney tips. History plays a very small part in handicapping, in my opinion. Since the rules, the players, and the coaches have changed so much over a period of 5, 6, 10, 20 years especially, I don't see any value in looking at those histories. Now, what happens is the media now covers teams that you never heard of before. ESPN has 4 different channels. You got Fox Media, you got Madison Square Garden. You got a lot of teams on TV, either locally or nationally, that you would have never seen before. Well, the point spreads between a 1 and a 16 used to be 25, 30 points. Now it might be 18 or 20 points. Why? Because the dark horse 16s are not unknown to us anymore. So when you talk about people, and people are talking about trends, 16s beat this and cover this, and 15s cover this and that, it's not valid anymore because the value in the spreads are less. To take a big underdog. Now, granted, the big underdog has a lot of advantages because even if they're blown out, the favorite team, the Mike Krzyzewskis of the world, that might be up 30 at the end of the game, he knows he has to save the legs of his players because they got a lot of games to play, very stressful games, and the competition's going to get harder and harder. So it's very likely he will pull back. But if you're not getting enough points, you're not going to get those backdoor covers that you once got. So when I'm looking at history, I'm looking at it in a short, narrow window because I don't think when you go back that far, over 5 years especially, but I'm looking at 1, 2, or 3 years, but I'm especially focused on this year because those players and those coaches are now. This is the now. They're playing today. How did they do this year? How did they do against top teams? How did they do against their conference opponents when they stepped out of conference? All those things matter much more than what happened 5, 10, 15 years ago. I feel coaching is something that we should spend more time on. When you talk about a coach, many of them are mature men, at least 30, sometimes 60 and 70. They've been around a while. They know how to handle, when I say handle, keep their players in a right frame of mind, know how hard to work them out, know how to prepare them for a style of team that they're going to face, especially if it's a style they haven't seen before. This year, everybody knows how Virginia Commonwealth plays. They're very up-tempo, full-court pressure. If you're not used to that, you don't have good point guards, you're probably going to have a problem with that. Even the other day, when I had St. Louis over VCU in their championship game, St. Louis was up 13. They were only laying 3 in the game. Felt pretty comfortable. VCU went into their full-court pressure. But I knew that St. Louis had, A, played them before, and B, had 2 very good guards, and their back guys, or their front court guys, are also able to handle the ball pretty well. So this, even though VCU cut the spread from 13 down to 1 in like no time at all, St. Louis got their composure back. Their coach there, the fill-in for Majerus after he passed away, has done a great job. He got their composure back, and they extended the lead 1-6. This is what I'm talking about. Coaching. You're coaching kids. These kids, they get anxious. When they're going into a tournament and they've heard about this player or that player and they know they got to match up against them, they get a little anxious. How's this going to work out? What's that guy, what do I have to do to stop this guy? What do I have to do to get my points? Coaches know how to a good coach knows how to handle their kids, keep them composed, remind them that it's a team game and not a one-on-one matchup where it's not schoolyard basketball where they're going to spread the court and you're just going to take this guy on one-on-one. In most cases, that's not happening. So coaching is very, very important. If you know your coaches especially if they've been to the dances either in the NIT or the NCAA in the past, and they have done well. Look at how they've done as a favorite. Look at how they've done as a dog. And you know, like, for example, the biggest, Tom Izzo is one that comes to mind a lot. Shaka Khan has done very well. Shaka Smart, excuse me, I don't know where that name came from. And Brad Stevens up at Butler has done very well. So you got these coaches that add to the team a lot. And you had Calhoun is now retired, but he was another one that did the same thing. He took UConn to the national championships a couple of years ago, and nobody thought they were going to get that far. So it comes down to coaching, making the moves, making the adjustments, preparing the kids for what's coming up next in the next game, knowing how to pull back and save their legs when it's absolutely necessary. Good coaching will make a very big difference because they can scheme, strategize, and make adjustments. It's absolutely necessary to know who the good and the bad coaches are. Every year, there are spots when you know you have the best of it going in because you have the best coach.